So one thing that I think is so important in life, if you want to live it to its fullest, is to have a vision. Vision is so instrumental in creating a pathway or a roadmap to where you want to go and what you want to achieve. And if you don't have a vision, then what I find is that a lot of people, they spend their days, filling in the hours, but it's not moving them towards something greater. And often that can leave a person feeling quite unfulfilled. The feeling of fulfillment comes from growth and from evolution, from evolving. And if you're not evolving day to day because you're not moving towards something bigger, then you tend to feel a little bit stagnant. And so for me, vision has been a huge part of my journey and of my growth as a person, as a horse trainer, as a horse rider. From a young age, I think it was when I started getting into the self-help world in my late teens, I started to build the idea of a vision because I hadn't really thought much about the future. I was living day to day, I was riding. People would ask me when I was younger, like, do you want to go to the Olympics? And I thought, not really, because I'd never really thought about it. I wasn't a big thinking person at that stage. And then when I started getting into the self-help world, and they were talking about dreams so big it scares you, and what do you want to achieve in your life, and make these big grand goals, it kind of got me thinking, like, what do I want to achieve in my life? Like, what would make me really happy? If I got to my deathbed, would I really wanted to look back and say, yeah, I lived it as much as I could. And so I started to develop the vision. And it takes a while, because in the beginning, you go around to anyone and you say, especially young people, you say, what do you want from your life? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And they kind of just shrug and be like, I don't know, I haven't really thought about it. So it's taken a while to develop, but I've gotten to the stage now where my vision is massive. And obviously the bigger your vision is, the more work you have to do, because in order to grow into the person you want to become, there's a lot of education involved. And I used to find education very boring. School was the worst for me because I didn't have a vision beyond it. I was, learning social studies and maths and science and English. And I was just thinking, this is so pointless. What am I going to use this for? If I was at school now, I would love it. Possibly not the fact that you sit in the classroom wasting a bit of time sometimes, because the teacher's having to teach to 30 kids and having to fit them all in. But the learning aspect of it, like, I'm loving learning about social studies and geography and all those topics that I once thought were really boring, because they fit into my vision. So when people are unmotivated and they don't have any discipline and they're a bit lazy, often it's just because they don't have a vision, so they don't see how that work benefits them. So if you say, okay, healthy eating, for example, or going out and riding with no stirrups so that you fix your balance, or working on your flying changes, or going to get dressage lessons, you might look at that and say, oh, boring, which is what I thought back in the day, because it doesn't fit into where you want to go. But if your vision is to become the fittest, healthiest, most talented rider you can be, whatever, that's just a very broad overview, then going and having dressage lessons is like, cool, this is great. I know it's going to be hard work, but it benefits me because it's going to help move me towards the person I want to become. And so one thing I always try to recommend to the young kids I work with is I try to instill in them, like, what's your goals for life? What would be on your dreams list that you would love to do? And a lot of the time, people don't create vision because they think, oh, it will never happen for me. I'm not talented enough. I'm not good enough. But it doesn't matter if you do not get to the end destination. My vision, my dream, if you say vision is / dream, it's what do you dream of doing? My vision would be to compete overseas at FEI level and represent the country one day in show jumping or eventing, who knows, maybe. So that's my dream. I may not get there, but because I'm putting in the work every day and I'm learning, I'm doing the education, I'm having the lessons that move me towards it, I am going to go a lot further than I would if I didn't have that vision at all. And I don't find it's hard work. So the education side of it isn't hard because I love it, because it benefits me. And so that's why vision is so important, especially for people who are a little bit lost, it's starting to put in their minds, what do you want to achieve in your life? Where do you want to go? Because if you'd gone back and looked at me as a young rider, more so in my teens, because I went through a funny riding stage, I was quite a handy little kid rider. I was really I was not gutsy, actually. I was very, very wussy in the loveliest way. I cried a lot and I couldn't sit on anything that wasn't perfectly safe. But I had a great little seat, I had good little hands, and I rode for the most part pretty good. Then in my teen years, I went a little bit messy here and there. It wasn't terrible though. But you would never have looked at me as a young rider and thought that I was ever going to get to high level competition on a horse. Maybe on a pony, because ponies are a little bit different than horses. But basically with a little bit of vision, with a lot of work, with a little bit of luck, anyone can achieve anything. They've just got to put their mind to it. And even if they maybe don't reach that ultimate vision, but they do the work and they work on that self-improvement, they're still going to go a lot further than they would ever have gone. And I can guarantee you, for me being at a stage where I'm not overseas representing the country, I haven't reached a lot of the visions I have. I am a very, very fulfilled person, despite that, because every day I'm evolving and I'm growing, which is the prerequisite of growth and of, moving towards something bigger than yourself. And so that's been absolutely instrumental in my own journey of having this idea always in the back of my mind. When I wake up, I'm thinking, okay, what can I do today that moves me towards the person I want to be tomorrow? And I'm a little bit, what would be the word? I'm a little bit intense about it because I have a really big vision. And I have a really big vision because when I started my trauma work and I started learning how to release fears and to open up my own identity, I realized with how much I was growing through that, I thought to myself, I want to know who I am without fear, and I want to know what I am capable of. And so this is more of like a self-experiment. I want to know what I can achieve without fear, and with this mindset and this visionary approach to life, where I'm looking always at the horizon and I'm always trying to move towards it. I want to know how far I can go. And that just simply fulfills me, and I love it. And a lot of people don't need to go quite as crazy, and they might not have nearly as big goals. But it's even if your goal is to move up to amateur level riding, or to break in your own horse one day, or to breed your own horse, having that vision and starting to plant that idea or that seed in your mind helps to give you a bit of a roadmap to go along. A lot of the reason people don't chase greatness is because they're here and greatness is over there, and they don't know how to fill in the spots in between. It just seems too overwhelming. But the second you create a vision and you say, okay, let's say my dream is to compete at high level eventing overseas, represent the country, go to the Olympics, whatever. Then if I'm here and the vision is here, then I say, okay, what steps would I need to take to move me towards that? And maybe it's dressage lessons, maybe it's learning your flying changes, or sourcing a really nice young horse, or going out and getting more competition experience. The second you've got your eye on this, these steps just naturally fall into place. And that's why it's so important. And I'm just going to continue chasing my own dreams and chasing my own vision. And I may or may not ever get there, but I sure as heck am getting a lot closer than I've ever been before.